Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello everyone and welcome to your English class. In our lesson today, we'll continue with our second unit. Our lesson today is the second part from the writing lesson in your books, page 28 and 29. All you need for the lesson today is your books, page 28 and 29, a sheet of paper and a pen to take down your notes. Okay. Let's get started with this exercise from your books, page 95. Study the picture and write words under each heading in the chart. Write sentences about what happened before the picture was taken and what probably happened afterwards. The first thing you do when you are in front of a picture, you will study the picture. Studying the picture, looking closely at the picture, and try to come up at least with words. Try to understand it, the relations within the picture. Let's look into here. We're having here, looks like we're having a fire, we're having a firefighter, and we're having the fire car in here. The house is in fire. Okay, let's study first. We're having this chart that we are about to fill in. Before the fire, now, during the fire, and after the fire. Let's imagine what had happened before the picture was taken. Speculate. What happened? Maybe I will say that they noticed some flame. Also, I will say smoke. Maybe while they were sitting, then they saw flames out of the kitchen, or they smelled smoke. They saw the smoke. Okay, what is happening now at the moment of the picture? We can say that we're having fire, yes, and we're having some people, whether they are within the house or the building or outside the building. We're having firefighters and the fire car as well. Let's imagine what could happen afterwards. Afterwards, the firefighters will put out the fire. They are going to put out the fire. Putting out the fire is to stop it. And also, we're having to check for live ashes, for anything that is alive. People, maybe things that can be used later on. Let's try to come up with the sentences in here. Now, you will come up with the sentences. We can say, the fire must have started in the kitchen. Am I sure about this? No. I am trying to make a guess. Maybe it must have started in the kitchen. Maybe you will tell me no. It must have started at the laundry room or at the living room. You can make your own guesses based on the proof or the evidence that you've got. Also, we can say that the house had been evacuated before the firefighters arrived. People had been evacuated, then minutes later, we're having the firefighters arrived. When the firefighters are at the location, people had been evacuated outside the house. Also, we can say that no one got hurt. Hopefully, that no one got hurt. Everyone is safe and sound. Okay, let's get started and continue in here. For our lesson today, by the end of today's lesson, you will be able to identify descriptive writing. What is descriptive writing? Also, you will be able to take notes on a written article, and you will be able to write an essay describing an event. So you will start. It is about writing. Our lesson today is about writing. Let's get started. Let me ask you this question. Have you ever been on a cruise? What is the cruise? The cruise is a trip on sea on a ship that is a fancy one. You're not going for transportation from one place to other. It is not a means of transportation. However, you are going there for pleasure, for tourism. I'm going to go from this city to that city on a cruise just for tourism, for fun. Have you ever tried it? I'll tell you yes, and it was very fancy. It was one of the best experiences that I've ever had. What do you do? You can tell, no, I have never been on a cruise, me myself, but I heard from someone or I have read about it, and I know that it's going to be interesting. That's going to be a good experience. Okay. When writing a description of an event, and we are referring to what we have already discussed on page 28. When writing a description of the event, you are actually starting with collecting your information. When you start collecting or gathering information, whenever you want to start writing, you have to collect information because these are the things that you are about to put into your writing. This information should be reliable and interesting. Reliable, it should be from a reliable source, not from everywhere. You will ask anyone or you will just browse the internet and find anything. No, something that is true, that is right. And it should be interesting. How can you make sure that the information you've got is interesting? I will know who my audience will be. Are they going to be older, younger people, teenagers, male or female? Then I will write something that is suitable for them. The information that suits you is different than the one that suits me or your classmates. So it should be reliable, the correct information, interesting, something that could be catchy and attractive to the reader. Also, the organization of the events. Organization, we're speaking about the order of the events. So in here, the organization should be clear and should be organized in paragraphs. You don't always need to write them in paragraphs. If your writing is short, it should be organized maybe chronologically, starting from the oldest to the newest. Or the organization should be clear organization. I know when things happened and when others happened. Also, make sure that you're using the correct tense for the revision part. Usually when you are describing an event, it's not something that is happening at the moment. That's why it's a good idea to use the past tense. It's highly recommended. And the passive voice is a good idea because we don't want to mention people's names. It will be much more formal. Using the passive, give it more formality. Okay. Point of view. Whose point of view? Yours and others. Always make sure to be objective, to give your point of view as well as other people's, maybe whether you agree and those other people agree with me or they disagree with me. Try to justify your ideas. Okay. From the previous page, page 28, we're having the description of the event. When we're describing the remote control, we have followed a certain organization. What was it? You can scan through that text about the evolution of the remote control and you can come up with the organization. We have started actually with the introduction of the theme. It was just 3 to 5 lines. Introduction of the theme. Then we've started with the early examples of remote control. The first ones, followed by the first television remote control. So how we started? We started with the early examples, then we got to our goal, which is the first television remote control. Then we got to the more sophisticated remote controls, and we ended up with the universal remote controls. So how did we start? Introduction, early examples, then we got to our point, which is TV. More sophisticated, more developed than the universal ones, which we got into it. And if you notice this one, the organization is the evolution plus chronological order. We started from the oldest to the newest, from the past to the present. Okay, so that was about the remote control. Now, in your book's page 28, look at the picture of the Kon-Tiki. This is the Kon-Tiki. Does it remind you of a contemporary sailboat that you have seen in a picture or in real life? Let's look at this one. Does it remind you of anything? This isn't a ship. It's not a developed one. This one, a basic. We call it usually a raft. It is a raft. And does it remind you of anything? Have you ever been to the beach and you have seen anything that is similar to it? Because we all have seen something that is similar to it, because it's basic, so you can see it everywhere. Okay, let's read about it. A model of the Kon-Tiki. What is the Kon-Tiki? The boat that used by the Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl to prove that the pre-Inca people could have sailed from South America to the islands in the Pacific. This is a summary of the story of the Kon-Tiki. We have already summarized it for you. Who did it? Its name is Kon-Tiki. What it is? It's a boat. Who used it? The Norwegian explorer Thor. And why? He wanted to prove that the Inca people could have sailed from South America to the islands in the Pacific. This is a summary of what we are about to write. Okay, now here, find out about the Kon-Tiki, or choose another vessel, a well-known voyage or expedition. You can use the internet, but make sure that you try to find something that is reliable, correct information. Or search for information in your school library to find out as much information on your chosen subject as you can. Let me tell you something in here. We're speaking about the idea of expedition. What have they told you here? A voyage or an expedition. Because we're speaking about sea trips, we're going to discuss it. When we're speaking about a voyage is a sea trip. However, this sea trip is going to be a long sea trip, voyage. People will travel from one place to the other, not for a day or two, maybe for months. It will take them long time. And this is a voyage. However, what is an expedition? An expedition is actually a voyage. However, what is the main purpose related to the Kon-Tiki? The main purpose of the expedition is for exploration. It's not for fun, just like the cruise. No. This time we are having something in our mind. We want to explore the North Pole. We want to explore the South Pole. We're having a study. We want to, for scientific reasons. So it is usually for scientific reasons. So an expedition is a voyage because it's long. However, the purpose is different. We'll compare it to a cruise. What is the purpose for a cruise? For fun, for tourism. However, this one is for scientific purposes. Okay, can you think of any example which is similar to the Kon-Tiki? I can think about the Kon-Tiki itself. If you want to write about it, you can search the internet for reliable information and come up with your ideas. I can think about the Christopher Columbus voyage. He went into a voyage. Why? And what did he do? And also I can think about the Marco Polo expedition. As well as you can think about Ahmed ibn Majid's explorations or expeditions. Think about anything that comes to your mind. Maybe contemporary ones, nowadays, or things that happened in the past, and you can write about them all. Okay. Here, make notes on the chart. But before making a note on the chart, let's go over the writing process. As a reminder for you, how are we going to start writing? Whenever you want to start writing, you have to follow certain steps. We're not going to just start writing. First thing that you are about to do is the idea of planning. And we have already planned. We are going to write descriptive writing about a voyage or an expedition. We have planned it. But it is now your turn to finish the planning idea. Which expedition are you writing about? I have made my mind already. So, which expedition you are about to write? Is it the Kon-Tiki, Christopher Columbus, Marco Polo, or something that you have heard or read about already? Then we will go to the following step, which is the drafting step. What is drafting? putting your ideas into paper. Brainstorm ideas. Whatever comes to your mind, whatever you find, just put it into paper. It's a good idea just to write down your ideas. Put them down into paper. Then we will go to the revision part. Now it is the time in which you will revise the ideas. Not all the ideas reliable. Not all of them are interesting. Not all of them are related. So you will decide, is this related? Is this reliable? Is it important, or it's going to be more than enough? All done with the ideas. Now let's go to the following part, which is the editing. In the editing step, now it is the time to check your grammar, your spelling. You're checking here we're all done with the ideas. You're checking with your punctuations, full stops, question marks. So you are looking back into it with a fresh eye. And by the end, you are all done. Congratulations, you can publish it, you can send it to your teacher, and it is all ready. Okay, let's get started. On page 29, we're having here this chart. Let's study the chart together. I am searching. You will write down the name of the thing that you are searching, your voyage or expedition. What is it? Why is it special? Who was involved in it? And what is the vessel made of? Where did the voyage or expedition take place? And was it successful? According to the thing that you are about to write about, decide and fill out the chart. For me, I would write about I am searching the Kon-Tiki. What is it? I will give it a short description. It is a boat. Then, why is it special? I have chosen this one because it went on a journey through the Pacific Ocean, one of the largest oceans. Who was involved in it? Who? So we're speaking about people. Here, I will speak about Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl. What is the vessel made of? The boat, what was it made of? It was made of wood. It was wooden. Where did the voyage or expedition take place? From the South America to the islands in the Pacific. Was it successful? The result, yes, it was successful. If you have chosen the Kon-Tiki, this one can help. If you have chosen any other one, you can write your own. Okay, speaking about the Kon-Tiki, we can tell that it started from South America all the way to the Raroya until here. So we got from South America, from Peru in here, all the way into there. And it took them 6,900 kilometers, more than 100 days in this expedition or this voyage. Okay, so let's get started in here. How am I going to organize my writing? I will start with the what. Usually it's always recommended to start with definition, defining, introducing the idea. Just as we have read about the remote control, the first thing is the what. You're introducing your idea. Then I will give it the other one is going to be the why. Why did they start or they went through this? Why did they go in this expedition or this voyage? Then I will come up by the end with the result. How did this end up? Was it successful? What are the results or the findings that they came up with? Because it's an expedition, scientific reasons. Let's start with the what. At the beginning, speaking about the writing rules. As a reminder for you, what are the writing rules? In the editing part, we're speaking in here about your ideas. Always make sure that all the ideas are related. Anything that is not interesting, not reliable, not related, just take it out. You don't need it. Then, check your paragraphs. Each one paragraph, or let's speak about, yes, each one paragraph should be about one idea. If it is about the what, this paragraph, it shouldn't include anything about the result or about the why. Make sure that your paragraphs are organized. Then we're having grammar, and we have highlighted. It's highly recommended that you use the past tense because we're speaking about something that happened in the past, as well as it's a good idea to use the passive voice. Then spelling. By the very end, always check your spelling, and we're having the capitalization. Capitalize, and you can refer to the mint rule. Capital letters with at the beginning of the start of the sentence, and the others. And we're having punctuations. We want to use a comma, full stop, comma, question marks, and the others. Okay, let's start with the what. From the what, I have got this idea. The journey by raft across the Pacific Ocean from South America to the Polynesian Islands. Then I can say it was led by the Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl. So this is my definition for the what. Who led it and where did it go? For the why, I came up with Heyerdahl wanted to prove that the people from South America could have reached Polynesia. He wanted to prove that the raft could make the journey. So this is why. How about the result? By the very end, he came up with the results. They smashed into a reef at Raroya in Tuamotus, and they made successful landfall and returned safely. Heyerdahl and his crew, people with him, had demonstrated that South American people could have reached the South Pacific by raft. So they got into there, they were safe, and they proved their point. Let's put them now into the paragraph. Now the paragraph idea that we are going to write the paragraph on. The first idea in here, the Kon-Tiki expedition was a 1947 journey by raft across the Pacific Ocean from South America to the Polynesian Islands. It was led by the Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl. Notice that I have started with a capital letter. After the full stop in here, we will use a capital letter. Any sentence ends with a full stop. Followed by the second sentence, which is the why. Heyerdahl believed that people from South America could have reached Polynesia during pre-Columbian times. He wanted to prove that the raft itself could make the journey. Notice that never start a new line unless you are out of space. Notice after the full stop in here, next to it you will start with your new sentence. Never start unless it is a new paragraph. The result, Heyerdahl and 5 companions sailed the raft over 6,900 kilometers across the Pacific Ocean before smashing into a reef at Raroya in the Tuamotus on August 7, 1947. After 101 days at sea, the Kon-Tiki crew made a successful landfall and returned safely. The expedition had been an unconditional success, and Heyerdahl and his crew had demonstrated that South American people could have journeyed to the island of the South Pacific by raft. So this is the result. They landed safely and they have proved their point. Let's now do the editing part and we will reread the paragraph, and this time you are supposed to come up, spot the mistake. What are the things that are wrong in this paragraph? At the beginning, the Kon-Tiki expedition was a 1947 journey by raft across the Pacific Ocean. The thing that in here, we have to start the sentence with a capital T. Also in here, we're having Pacific, it's a name, capital P. Pacific Ocean from South America to the Polynesian Islands. This is the name, Polynesian. Then islands. It was led by the Norwegian explorer. Can you notice in here? We're having a comma. You can choose whether a full stop and small I, or you can use a full stop and a capital I, or a comma with a small I. It was led by the Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl. Heyerdahl believes. Do you think it's believes? Here, the tense should be in the past. He believed that people from South America could have reached Polynesia during the pre-Columbian times. He wanted to prove here, after the full stop, a new sentence, capital H. He wanted to prove that the raft itself can make the journey. Can we use can in the past tense? The past tense of can is could make the journey. Heyerdahl and 5 companions. What do you think about 5? So 5 companions sailed the raft over 6,900 kilometers across the Pacific Ocean before smashing into a reef at Raroya in the Tuamotus on August. Notice August, a name of the month, so capital A, 1947. After 101 day, here, more than one, so we have to use an S here. At sea, the Kon-Tiki crew made a successful landfall and returned safely. The expedition had been an unconditional success, and Heyerdahl and his crew had demonstrated that the South American people could have journeyed, notice the journeyed in here, it should be a Y, to the islands of the Pacific, of the South Pacific by raft. End your sentence with a full stop. So these are the correction, and this one is the right capitalization and the questions. In your book's page 126, you can refer to this one, which is for self-reflection. Ask yourself, can I take notes and use the notes to write a description of an event? Then, can I organize my notes or information? How can I plan my description? Can I decide on the audience and come up with interesting information? Can I present facts and events clearly? Use the language and grammar correctly, which is the passive voice and as well as the past tense. Edit and correct mistakes, just the thing that we have done in the previous slide, and use appropriate style, which is the formal style. Check your writing according to this one, and you can correct your own mistakes. For your homework, you are supposed to write a description of a vessel, voyage, or voyage expedition. You will write your own. You have seen how we have already written our own. Now it is your time to write your own description of an expedition. Okay? I guess that is it for the lesson today, and thank you so much for your time.